Hello, ladies and gentle children. Today we are adding integers. Yesterday we talked about what are integers, absolute value, all that good stuff. Today we're going to start doing math with integers, doing math with our negative numbers. So when we are adding integers, there are two rules that you need to follow in order to add integers. We're going to start with adding integers with the same sign. Adding integers when we have the same sign. If both of our values have the same sign, what does that look like? Well, if both of our values have the same sign, what we do is we're going to add the absolute values and keep the sign. We're going to add the absolute values and keep the sign. So what that would mean is if we wanted to do an example of that, that would be something like -7 plus -5. All right, so we can first look and say these two numbers have the same sign. They both have a negative, right? So since they have the same sign, we're going to just add up the absolute values and then keep that sign. So since they're both negative, we know our answer will be negative. When we're adding, if they're both negative, our answer is negative. And then we add our absolute values. The absolute value of -7 is 7. The absolute value of -5 is 5. We add those up and we get 12. Keep our sign to get us a final answer of -12. Okay? So adding integers with the same sign. You just add the numbers up and keep the sign. If they're both negative, our answer will be negative. If they're both positive, our answer will be positive. Adding integers with the same sign, that's the one that's a little bit easier. The one I want to spend a little more time on is what happens when we are adding integers with different signs. Let me get rid of all this. With different signs. Adding integers with different signs. When we add integers with different signs, we want to find the difference of the values and then we want to use the sign of the greater absolute value. Okay, so we want to find the difference of the values. Difference means subtraction. So we want to subtract the numbers and then use the sign of the number that has greater absolute value. So if I have 17 plus -4. Okay, here I have two numbers with different signs. I have one positive and one negative. And when I have one positive and one negative, the first thing I want to do is subtract my two numbers. And I don't care which one's positive or negative, it doesn't matter. I just want to do my bigger value minus my smaller value. So this one would end up being something like 17 minus 4, which would be 13. Okay, so I know my value is going to be 13. And my sign is going to come from, do I have more positives or do I have more negatives? Well, I have 17 positives and I have 4 negatives. I have more positives, so my answer is going to stay positive. Since I have more positives, my answer will be positive. If I had more negatives, my answer would be negative. Okay? So if there's different signs, we subtract, and then we just use whatever value is bigger. So if I said something like negative 35 plus 18. Okay, first thing we want to do is we want to see my signs. I have different signs. I have one negative number and I have one positive number. So since they're different, I'm going to subtract. I'm going to say, okay, what is 35 minus 18? Well, we go here, 2, 15 minus 18, that's going to be a 7. 2 minus 1 is 1. It's going to give me a value of 17. And then to look at the signs, I want to say, do I have more negatives? I have 35 negatives here. I have 18 positives. I have more negatives, so my answer will be negative. Since I have more negatives, my answer stays negative. Okay? That's how this works. That's how our adding integers works. We follow our 2 rules. Same sign, add them up and keep the sign. Different signs, subtract them and keep the bigger sign. All right? I'd like you to answer these couple questions and then let me know how you're doing, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.